See, this area down here has a lot of beach that I have to clear out. And once I get through what I wanted to accomplish with the logging, is I'm going to come down here and just take out that beach. You know, let it sit for a year, and then start using that for firewood, either selling it or burning it myself. But I've got a lot of beach here, probably 5 acres that needs to come down. And I'm going to take down a couple of the maples in there, but not all, because hopefully after I get the beach down, they can repopulate. There's a bunch of maple volunteers, so I was hoping that those things can come along. If you look really carefully, you can see a cherry down there. I'm leaving that, and there's a soft maple, but it has a bad root flare, so I'm going to take it because I think it's dying, and then I'll pick a couple of the maples and leave a couple, and then hope they can go back and repopulate. But this is day 2 for the 394. It's not quite right. I tweaked on this morning, but the adjusters on that carburetor are not letting me do what I want to do. And it kind of loosened up yesterday. I don't know if it's a break-in or is it coming apart, but it had that kind of death rattle sound to it. So one of the things I'm going to do real quick is give it a brake clean test, make sure I don't have something catastrophic going on in the bottom end, and then just run it, because that's part of the whole deal. You get one of those old pro saws like that, you know, it's already been through 1 service life, possibly 2. The history of that saw, as I understand it, is it spent the first 10 years of its life as one of the primary saws for a pro logger in the area. Older fella now, I think he's retired. And then a firewood guy who literally does firewood for a living picked it up and ran it for another 10 years. And then it stopped working for him. And then we got that on trade because it had some rather significant issues. The top end was whooped. You know, it wasn't running good. And a few other things. It had a busted case. Just a bunch of things that made it to the point where he'd rather just trade it in versus try to put the money into it to bring it back to life. And I figured, okay, well, there you are. That's the case. And this is the whole idea of seeing whether or not you can get the bones of a old, worn-out OEM saw and build it into something useful for less money and less hassle and with better results, because it's OEM, of course, remember that, than just buying something like a G395. Well, right now, if you were to ask me which is a better route, I'm going to say the G395. But there's a caveat. That does not extend to all the other aftermarket options out there. I think the 395 that Husqvarna is selling, that basic saw, is a cut above of what they've done in the past. So when I got into this, I expected to go against the same level of quality I'd seen with a G372 series, some of which are basically junk, and the 660s, which actually were pretty good, but you had to put a fair amount of effort into them. But once you did, it was worth the effort, you know what I'm saying? Well, here we are with a 395. I don't have it with me today, and I did have to put a piston into it. But subsequent saws, from all the evidence I can see from the people who bought them online, have not had to do that. And I would say, assuming that the piston is as the piston they sent me to replace the one that was in that saw, I didn't use it yet, but I did measure it up, and it's a nice looking piston, and it's dimensionally correct. If that's the case, no one's going to have to do what I did with a piston. Just won't have to. But then I did a muffler mod, and I put a full wrap on it and stuff like that. Put a different decomp, and I'd say that the only parts that like actually failed for me were the muffler screws. They actually did fail. So, but if I had left the muffler on, it'd be fine. So basically, I've got maybe $100 on top of the 350. So that's like 450 plus elbow grease into the G395. Now I easily have got that much into that saw already in terms of time. And I would say on the value of the trade, I got like maybe 150 into the saw, but I also have another $200 into parts already. and actually almost 3 because I bought an OEM ignition system. So we're right at the same level of money, you know. This one's been a little bit harder to sort out. I had to do some more clever things. I had to convert it up to a 395 to make it supportable by aftermarket. Had I tried to do that with OEM parts, that thing would be a $500 saw right now. You know what I'm saying? I understand, you know, the argument. And I think the other point is, even when I do get that going, is it actually going to last longer because it's so worn than the new G395? That's the question, really. How much effort, how much cost, and then how much money can you make with it after it's been done? And that's what we're trying to explore here. Not through, you know, theory and talk and emotional things based on politics and stuff like that, but let's just try it and see. That's where we're doing this. And I gotta tell you, I mean, that saw runs okay. I mean, I had it running pretty good yesterday. If I can figure out how to get the carburetor to tune properly, I think it'll be an okay saw. But anyway, let me get it fired. I got some work down here to do, and then do a brake clean test on it, make sure I don't have a blown PTO side seal or something like that that's giving it a hard time. Like the country song, here comes the rain. So I need to get hustling. I'll run the tank out of this one and then go right to the 562, I believe. But let me get some trees down first. Well, the rain's coming, so I'm just going to get the trees on the ground and worry about skidding them a little bit after. I can do that in the rain, but I don't want to be running the saw in the rain. I don't think this one's going to take much wedging. See, that thing wants to stall, and I don't see a reason for it. So it's either the tank vent, fuel line, something along those lines. Let's get this tree on the ground. Nice looking wood. Look at that. Nice, nice, nice looking wood. That's a nice tree. And let me get the angle over here so you can see the bore cut start. See, that's got a lot of root flare. And I'm going to go a little higher up the stump on that. Number one, I want to cut through all those root flares before I get to the hinge. And that's assuming I've got the bar length. I'm not sure I have enough bar. We're going to find out though. It settled back. Now we have to get it over. There it goes. A little bit of rain coming now. I'm going to cut a little of that stump. That's why I took that tree though, because it was beginning to go. So I got 2 down. I'd like to get 1 more. And let me clean this one up, break it loose, and see if I can get the 3rd one down. And you think about that, that'll be pretty significant. That'll be, I've got 2 trees on the 394 with 1 tank. I could not get more than 1 tree with the 288 when you figured in all the cleanup and stuff like that. So we're already starting out ahead of the 288. Put my glove over the camera. All right, rain's coming in now, so camera time is now done. Yeah, the rain came in today, so I'm done.